This is going to happen globally. Are you prepared? World leaders are planning new lockdowns to introduce the World Debt Reset Program, which includes universal basic income and vaccination requirements. World leaders are preparing for a second and third wave of COVID-19 cases and are fine-tuning their lockdown strategies, which will be implemented anytime soon before the end of 2020 and into 2021. Their planning involves the development of a new world economy, one that introduces medical fascism as a permanent way of life. A whistleblower revealed the plans. The whistleblower is on the Liberal Party of Canada's Strategic Planning Committee, which operates under the direction of Canada's Office of the Prime Minister. The historic lockdowns have engineered mass poverty as earlier warned, and will continue to weaken people's financial and food security, making them more vulnerable, and eventually making them more desperate to accept the new world economy and its bodily requirements. The new world economy would include universal basic income and vaccination requirements. It will include the introduction of a digital currency, universal basic income, vaccination requirements for travel, and the World Debt Reset Program. A continuous cycle of lockdowns into 2021 will eventually lead to an international economic collapse. Governments worldwide will offer citizens an alluring way out by promising to eliminate all personal debts, such as mortgages, loans, credit cards, medical bills, tuition-free education and many others. In the US, this idea had already been implemented partially in 2020, through the Paycheck Protection Program, a guaranteed loan program that forgives debt if the borrower follows specific instructions. Under an impending economic collapse, any and all loans will be forgiven if the citizen agrees to participate in the World Debt Reset Program, funded by the International Monetary Fund, which is controlled by the deep state. In order to get all debts forgiven, citizens will have to forfeit ownership of any and all private properties. Accept universal basic income. Enroll in the COVID-19 and COVID-21 vaccination schedule. As the rolling lockdowns and economic sanctions commence, citizens will be permitted all their previous freedoms to travel and gather in stadiums and public venues, as long as they provide an ID showing they were inoculated with all the mandated COVID-19 and COVID-21 vaccinations. In Canada, detainment camps are being installed in all provinces and territories to coerce people to comply with the new plans. But the authorities say this is not true despite the dozens of evidence. The Canadian whistleblower revealed that this vaccine ID will be referred to in Canada as Canada's Health Pass. The whistleblower warns that world leaders in Australia, the US, the UK, Canada, and New Zealand will push for a complete and total secondary lockdown, much stricter than the first and second rolling phase restrictions. These new lockdowns will be pushed in November or December 2020 through January 2021, by hyping up COVID-19 testing and case counts. The 2020 lockdown tyranny is just the beginning of a much larger plan. The upcoming lockdown plans are congruent with the Great Reset Plan, outlined by the World Economic Forum and Event 201, both funded and pushed by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which seeks worldwide compliance with vaccine and genetic modification of human beings. The Prime Minister's National COVID-19 Advisory Commission, established in lockstep in March 2020, is now advising and pushing the Canadian Prime Minister Office and the Department of Prime Ministers and Cabinet in Canberra to carry out these totalitarian plans. It is also said that at least 30% of the committee members strongly oppose these plans, but their voices are being drowned out. It has been made very clear that nothing will stop the planned outcomes, said the whistleblower. The Canada's Office of the Prime Minister has laid out the plan, which includes a secondary lockdown that will implement restrictions on a rolling basis, beginning with major metropolitan areas and expanding outward. This is why it is not wise to live in large cities. Everything will always start in the cities first. Never live in big cities if you are wise. The media will project that daily COVID-19 cases exceed testing capacity and must be curbed, using a complete and total secondary lockdown lies, much stricter than the first and second rolling phases. The unemployment program will be configured into a universal basic income program by the end of first quarter 2021. As the vaccines are rolled out, all viral shedding, mutations, and vaccine injuries will be blamed on a third wave, which includes a higher mortality rate and higher rate of infection. Anyone who does not agree to the vaccines will be stripped of their right to travel freely, and will either be detained in the isolation centers or monitored on home arrest until they agree to comply. During this time, medical facilities will reach peak capacity, and government will enhance lockdown restrictions, implementing a third lockdown by second quarter, 2021. Large inventory shortages, supply chain breakdown, and economic instability is expected, as all individuals are put on a universal basic income program to curb hunger, homelessness, and civil unrest. By third quarter 2021, governments are expected to deploy military personnel to major metropolitan areas and roadways to create travel checkpoints. These tactics have already been tested out in 2020. Everyone who is dependent on these systems will be forced onto the Health Pass vaccination schedule. Anyone who disagrees will be deemed a public health threat or enemy of the state. The whistleblower said that dissenters will not be tolerated. Essentially, we were told it was our duty to make sure we came up with a plan to ensure that it would never happen. We were told it was in the individual's best interest to participate. This is evil. Friends, what is your take on this? Are you living in a large city and getting ready to comply? This is the best time to move to the country or out of the cities. Do not forget to like, share and subscribe.
Say, Lord, I know you're with me.